We are recording. There it is. Okay, we're in good shape. We're recording. Hey, listen, folks, I want to thank you for coming on to the line today. It's Friday, around May 24th, I believe. But listen, I think you guys are the real deal, and I'll tell you why I think you're the real deal. Is because this is part two, or this is the bonus section, as I called it, for those of you who attended the River Cruise program last week. And I said, for those who came, let's do a bonus section. And it should come as no surprise to you that not everybody who came last week is on the phone this week. That's why, by definition, I put you people, you folks that are on the line today, there's a number of you, are the real deal. And the reason is because you realize that it's a tough world out there, and if you can get one nugget from me today to help you feed your family, then it's worth the couple of minutes invested. So I'd like to challenge you today, if I could, this being Friday. It's a cold and rainy Friday where I am in upstate New York, outside of Cooperstown. Woke up this morning, it was 43 degrees. I thought it was supposed to be summertime, but not yet. But in any event, I want to challenge you. On webinars, on most webinars, there's a tendency to do more than one thing. You think you can listen, you watch, and I guess it's called multitasking. But for the next couple of minutes, let's challenge ourselves not to multitask. Let's focus on feeding our families. Let's focus on becoming the best salespeople, the best travel professionals we can be. Let's focus on finding that one nugget of information that's going to help you become better at what you do. So, multitasking aside, let's focus for the next couple of minutes together. And as you can see on slide number 1, I have 2 guests coming in today. So hang around. They're going to be on the call early, but 2 guests worth hanging around for. That being said, before we get started, I want to call everyone's attention to the maroon arrow on page number 1 going up to the top of the page. I'm going to look at the attendee list here, and it looks like a couple of you, not many, but a couple of you. Brenda is one. Let me see. Brenda is one. Fran is one. I have Fran. I have, let's see if there's anyone else. Make sure, I have Linda. Linda G. Linda G, that's right. Lisa R. Lisa R is on my list. Make sure, folks, that you're dialed the right phone number. Now, the default number is a Canadian number. So if you called 647, you're calling a Canadian number. I say this in front of all of my webinars. It's time well spent for me to remind you. In America, the number is on the top of the screen, 213-493-0005. Otherwise, the Canadian number is the default number. So please, please hang up and dial the right number if you haven't already done so, because that's going to save you international charges. Now, on the top of every screen, I'm going to tell you again, make sure the phone number is the one you call. Now, most people are on your computer, so it's not that big a deal, but some of you are calling in on the telephone. So I hope I made that as clear as I could. Let's go over to slide number 2. We're talking about selling tips, folks, and I'm not talking about how to overcome objections. If you got on the line today to learn how to overcome people's objections, you're not going to hear it. You're not going to hear about how to upsell, the bait and switch. Get them to the inside cabin, be clever, say the right words, tell them to get to the window, then tell them to get to the balcony. I'm not going to be talking about upselling. Closing more sales, closing. We have to close more. You hear that. You read about it in every sales book. This is Mike Marshev talking to you today. And as those who know me, I have a tendency to shoot from the hip. I have a tendency to share with you my 40 years of experience from being thrown out of more offices than anybody on the line today. I have more bruises, more Band-Aids, more bumps, more experiences, but more success, and I'll say not more, a lot of success and a lot of fun. And that's what I'm sharing with you today. As a professional salesperson, I can't think of anything more insulting than to overcome someone's objections, to upsell, to close. These are words that are non-words in my vocabulary. Now, addressing people's concerns, of course, not overcoming objections, addressing their fears, addressing their questions. That's okay. We can address what's on their mind, not overcome them. And upselling. Well, half the time you may be downselling. All I want you to do is sell what's right. If it's right, you do it. If it costs more, you do it. If it takes more effort, you do it. If it's the right thing to do. If it's the wrong thing to do, you don't do it. You sell down. If you can get the right product to the right person for less money and less commission, you do it. Because you're not in this thing for the quick hit. You're in it for the relationship. And people can tell. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, people can tell when you're the real deal. And the fact that you're on the phone today, I put you in that category. And closing more sales. Don't focus on closing sales. Focus on opening sales. Open with a handshake. Open with a smile. Open with looking people in the eye. Open with being sincerely interested in what you're doing and who you're talking to and where they've been and what's important to them. If you open properly, you don't have to worry about closing any sales. They'll close themselves. So, I want to highlight your biggest obstacle. Here's what I feel, and I want you to address this. We're talking about selling tips, how to become more successful selling. I'm going to give you 7 tips. I'm going to introduce you to 2 guest speakers. This is going to be a pretty cool webinar today. But I want to first tell you what I think your biggest obstacle is. And your biggest obstacle to overcome is not enough people know you're alive, period. End of sentence. Bingo, there it is. They can't possibly do business with you or your company if they don't know you exist. So therefore, moving forward, I want you to become more visible. I want you to be out in the marketplace. If you can, I want you to write something. I want you to attend trade shows. I want you to be out in the world introducing yourself, because until I know you're alive, I'm not going to do business with you. So overcoming your first obstacle is visibility. Become more visible, and you will be doing better along the way. Now, we all have obstacles. And this slide is particularly cool because it shows runners going over the hurdles. You have hurdles in business. I have hurdles in business. You have hurdles in life. I have hurdles in life. Well, let me tell you a coaching rule here. The race, the 100-yard hurdles or the 150-meter hurdles, whatever they are, is a race from A to Z. It's from line to line. It has nothing to do with jumping over things. It's a race for speed to get from position A to position B. Well, we're going to put these obstacles in your way. When you jump over the obstacles, you lose speed. You cannot gain speed when your feet are off the ground. So therefore, the strategy is to get over that obstacle as quickly as you can. Get over it. Don't postpone. Get over your obstacles. Get your feet back on the ground running hard as fast as you can. And that's what you're doing in business. When you are faced with an obstacle, get over it. Don't wait till Friday. Don't wait till Monday. Pick up the phone. Get over it, because that's when you can pick up speed. So I love that slide right there. Biggest obstacle is visibility, but that being said, get over your obstacles fast. Now, your second biggest obstacle is that many of you don't believe there's action out there. And this is a great slide because I'm telling you, you may not see the Easter eggs on when you go hunting for them, but you know they're out there. So you take your basket and you just keep looking. Now, in this case, this may not be such a good slide. They didn't hide these eggs too good in this photo. But you know, when you were a kid, they were under the rocks, behind the couch, in the TV set, up on top of the roof. You know the eggs were everywhere. And as a kid, you'd keep looking for them. You wouldn't not find one behind the tree and quit. You kept looking. Well, I'm telling you, the eggs are out there. The customers are out there. The business is out there. We just have to get our basket and keep on looking. So there's obstacle number 2. Now we're to professional tip number 1. And let me just see. Okay, we got a pretty good crowd on the phone. Better than average. Excellent. And professional tip number 1 is to pick a target. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike, go out and sell more. I don't know what that means. Go out and make more money. I don't know what that means. But if you tell me, Mike, I want you to go meet that guy standing next to the bus over there, I know how to do that. I can do that. I can go meet that man. If you tell me that you see that woman pushing the grocery cart, go introduce yourself to her. I can do that. That's easy. That's simple. Once you take the time to identify on paper who you want to do business with, who you want to meet, who you want to dance with, once you put it down, then, ladies and gentlemen, it's simple. You now have the target. You know who to shoot for. And if you miss, you know how to make the adjustment with your dart, call it the marketing gambit or whatever, and then you make an adjustment. If you're too far left of the bullseye, aim a little bit more to the right. If you're too low, bring it up a little bit. If you throw it off the board entirely, lighten up. So pick a target and then go get that target. I mean, if you're going to write a book, say, I'm going to write a book. Well, now you know what your target is, so you go do it. Now, there was a little sting to one of our guest speakers. He probably picked it up, and the other guest speaker knows exactly what I'm talking about, so there you go. So number one, pick a target and then go hit the target. And keep shooting while you have the strength and the darts until you hit the bullseye. And you will hit the bullseye. So number one, pick a target. Number two, and I want to introduce now my guest speaker. My guest speaker number one comes from Long Island. He's a well-known celebrity in the travel industry. Most of you people on the line today will know exactly who I'm talking about. And I would like to introduce to you with sales tip number two to my good friend, my good mentor, my good Goomba, no other than Stuart. You can call me Stuart L. Cohen. So, Stuart, are you on the line?
I am. Hello, Michael.
Hey, there you go. This thing is working. Ladies and gentlemen, this is so cool. I'll tell you why, Stuart. Let me just, I know you got to run, my man, but there's a lesson here, folks, that we have our competitors. We're friendly competitors who work with each other, laugh with each other, have fun with each other, and I want everybody on the line to watch this and to go out and do it yourselves, to get collaboration, to get friends, to get mentors, to have fun in your business, because there's nothing like it. And Stuart, I'm so glad you had time to get on the line today, and too bad we don't have any time to listen to your tip. I'll give it for you. Have a nice day. See you later, Stuart.
Okay, bye.
Bye. I'll say thanks for coming. Go ahead, my man.
It's really great to be here. Hello, everybody. I think it's awesome that you're tuning in right now. Truly, a happy Friday to you all, a happy sales. And Mike, when you asked me for a tip here, well, you know, there's so many that come to mind, and I said, all right, you want a really, really good one, or do you want an okay one? And you said, give me your best. So, Mike, I've got my best. And it's about being remarkable. It's about achieving your remarkability. And let me explain what that means. Hey, Mike, if I was to ask you, could you think of a business or a person that was remarkably good? Could you think of a couple of people or businesses that are remarkably good?
I can.
And
share those with you?
Yeah. Give me an example of one remarkably good person or business, and what makes them remarkable.
Well, I tell you what, the one that comes to mind right off the cuff is Apple. I mean, I love my Apple, and I've been treated well with them, and they respect me when I go in there, and I'm delighted with it, with the Apple organization.
Yeah, and I get that too, because I feel the same way. Basically, remarkably good means it's memorable. The experience is good, it's positive, and I bet you share that with others too. That's remarkably good, right? So everybody who's on the line now, picture, if you will, okay, picture this line. So at one end of the line, on the right-hand side, you think of all your remarkably good people in business, put them over there. And it's a small portion at the end of the line. Now go back to all the way at the other side where the line begins, let's say. And Mike, if I asked you, could you think of a remarkably bad person or business that you don't share it with us, down at the other end of the spectrum?
I think I can think of hundreds of them.
Yeah.
Your daily travels, you just bump into them. It's sad.
That's right. It's sadly, I think, and I don't know if our listeners, our viewers agree, unfortunately, we can probably think of more remarkably bad experiences that we've had with people or businesses, and businesses you never go back to again, but you sure talk about it because you make sure your friends and family don't go there too. Now, in the middle, the biggest area in the middle. Mike, if I asked you, could you think of anybody or any businesses, please give me an example of a business that's unremarkable.
Just
Could
in
you?
the middle.
Could you?
Sure.
Well,
Well, there's usually they swing one or the other, but yeah, I could probably one in the middle.
yeah.
Just a
The
blasé company, yeah.
but blasé. Now, even though I can't spell blasé, I know what it means, which means they're or so-so. Or maybe our viewers out there are like, you know what? I really couldn't give you a long list of unremarkable businesses or people. Why? Because you don't remember them. They did nothing to be memorable. So my tip here is to be a super successful salesperson is to be remarkable, be remarkably good, to be memorable. For that you need to be, we need to be an experience too. We're not just selling the vacation, right, Mike? We're not just selling the trip. We're selling ourselves. We have to be memorable. We love to be with other remarkable people. We love to hang out with other remarkable people, right? We love to tell friends that, hey, I've got this friend here. My friend is Mike Marshev. He's remarkable. He's one of the best speakers I know. He's remarkable, right? So I'm here to tell you that one of the biggest things, and Mike, it's a great segue with what you've just shared about being out there, being visible. It's one thing to be visible, but how are they going to perceive you? As remarkably bad, unremarkable, which means they won't even remember they saw your face or shook your hand. Or will you leave a great impression and be remarkably good, which will enable you to go get that business? There you go. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I think it's a great tip, Stuart, and I think that one of the things to make this come to fruition is that in today's daily grind, we sometimes find ourselves going through the motions on automatic. But automatic equals neutral, equals blasé. And if you want to be remarkable, you have to focus on, say, hey, today I am going to be remarkable. I'm going to do what needs doing, say what needs saying, follow up what needs follow up to make this position happen. So it's not just hoping and wishing. It's actually saying, hey, today I'm going to do this.
Yes.
And making a point to do it. That's a great point, Stuart. Hey, listen, I want to thank you for taking the time to pop in. And I know you got to run. I know you have another call to make, but I want to thank you for the remarkable work that you do in the travel industry, Stuart, and thanks for stopping by.
Mike, it's my pleasure. I'm grateful that you invited me to be here. I wouldn't miss it, not at all. So I'm so glad I got an opportunity to share, to be with you and your viewers. Happy sales to everybody on the line. Mike?
Thank you, Stuart.
Have a great weekend. Take care, buddy.
Folks, keep an eye out for Stuart Cohen because he speaks at industry conventions. And when you do see him, go on up and talk to him. He's very approachable, and tell him that you heard him on our webinar, or you might have heard him on your own webinars. And go up and meet Stuart because he's a great guy, and I know he'd just love to give you the time and answer your questions and take advantage of that. Okay, so with that, I am going to. Oh, but by the way, before I go any further, anyone on the phone, take a look to the top of the screen and make sure that if you're using your telephone that you're called the right number. I just don't want you to call me up and call me a slug. I want to tell you, there's the default number on your GoToWebinar sign-in was a Canadian number, and there's also an American phone number. So please, please, please hang up, dial in again, and make sure you're on the right number. So that leads us to my guest number 2, who's going to give a tip to us. And this gentleman also, I met him. He was speaking at a conference I was speaking at. I didn't know the guy. I see him at another conference, didn't know the guy. And over the years, we kind of got to know each other. And now we've become very, very good friends, good mentors. He is he is my opening act on the Mike and Nolan show. And it gives me great pleasure to say, hey, Nolan Burris, what do you have for us, big guy, from Vancouver, Canada?
Well, I hope I have something worth listening to, but I'm in awe of listening to you so far, buddy.
Well, thank you for that.
Hey, besides having a couple of things to contribute today, I've been monitoring the questions popping up, and unfortunately Stuart got off before he was able to see a question that popped up from Eva Greenwald. Eva, we'll make sure that Stuart gets your question and he'll get back to you by email. And Donna Berryhill made a great comment to say, don't forget to send people to Stuart's live internet radio show he does, the StuartCohenShow.com. It's awesome. So anyway,
well,
thanks for that.
Just a word on that, Nolan. That they're all archived. He's got about 50 archived shows, but he's taken a sabbatical from that. So there's no new Stuart Cohen shows scheduled right away. But I know there's a million archived, and they're all up there. So yes, good tip. Go to the StuartCohenShow.com and catch the archived programs. Good point. Thanks for bringing that up.
Okay. Well, and Eva just put up an additional question. She said either you or I could address that, and she doesn't know what she's asking for here. She could be getting herself in trouble. But her question was, how do you let your prospects know that you are remarkable without appearing like a braggart? So, Mike, I'll let you chew on that one for a minute while I give people my tip. And
okay, great.
See if you got an answer for her. Or he'll call Stuart and get an answer for free. Okay, you got about 2 minutes to do that, Mike.
And Eva, I know Eva. She's a member of my inner circle, and I have an answer for that, Eva, so stand by. And Nolan, you're on.
All right. Well, Mike asked me to pop in a quick tip for today when it comes to selling, and I do have a tip. And it really is pretty simple. It boils down to that one word that you see in red on the screen right now. It's the most ignored but the most important word in sales, and that is the word why. Focus more on the why than on the what. And here's what I mean. We do a lot of mystery shopping things where we call travel agencies pretending to be a customer. It's one of the ways that I know what needs to be trained, because everybody will tell me they do one thing, but then when we call pretending to be a customer, we get a completely different experience. And this is what happens. Hello, travel agent, I think I'd like to go to Hawaii. Well, in 5 seconds, you are looking up options for Hawaii for me, and that sounds like the right thing to do. And I might say, hello, travel agent, I think I'd like to go to Tahiti. Well, in moments, you are looking up options for Tahiti. And if I said I want to go to Alaska, you'd probably be looking up options for Alaska. But you see, folks, that's website stuff. That's Expedia stuff. That's Travelocity stuff. Websites always believe that you really know what you want, even if you're about to make a gigantic mistake. They always believe you. You can't afford to do that. You need to start asking why, because if you sell the wrong thing, you'll never hear from them again. Even if you won the sale, you won't get any more. And so it's very important to ask people, I'd love to help you with Tahiti. Can you give me a better idea as to why you are interested in Tahiti? And of course, as Mike has pointed out, you always need to ask permission to ask a few additional questions. It's just common courtesy. So do you mind if I ask a couple of questions? What is it about Tahiti that you're interested in? What is it about Alaska cruises that interests you? Because you might find out that they have been terribly misled, and it happens all the time. Because on the internet, everything is beautiful, everything is perfect, everything is going to be a dream come true, and we know that that is not the case. And I told Mike a quick little story just, I think it was yesterday, about why this matters so much. Back when I was a frontline travel agent, a woman called me saying she wanted to go to Tahiti. And so I gave her all kinds of stuff. I gave her prices, options, dates, packages, ratings, you name it. We were ready to go. And then when it came down to me telling her about the flight, then things went south. She said, wait a minute, why is that flight so expensive? And I said, well, it's a long-haul flight. No, it isn't, she says. It's just off the coast of Florida. Well, you see, the problem is she wrongly thought that Tahiti was in the Bahamas. And, of course, it isn't. But this sort of thing happens all the time. When you just believe that they know what they want and you don't ask why, you have not made yourself remarkable. You have made yourself a website.
Right.
So focus on the why. And Mike, I got a little goodie I'd like to give everybody who's listening in today. Can you pop onto that next slide?
Okay, let me close this, and we'll do this, and there we go.
So what I wanted to mention to you is I got a little thing that we do over on our website, and I wanted to give you guys kind of a special thank you. We have a training series of videos called the Virtual Boot Camp. There's 20 videos in the collection. The first one is free, so you can see if you even like it. And then if you do like it, we've got a nice little discount for everybody who listened in today. You just have to use a special URL that we created for all of Mike's friends and fans, and that'll make the discount pop up for you. So instead of just going to my website like normal, go to MikeMarchev.com/VBC. That stands for Virtual Boot Camp, and that will fire you right over to our website at futureprooftravel.com, but with a nice little discount attached to it.
But more,
there's my input for the day.
Well, thank you, Nolan. Thank you for that from me to you. But remember, folks, the first one is there's no cost. So I want everybody on the line to go take advantage of that free offer that Nolan's giving you, and to just listen and watch and to see if this kind of service is of value. I know it's of value, but you have to connect with it. But the free one is there. Go there, pick it up. Doesn't cost you a dime. Marchev.com, MikeMarchev.com, VB/VBC, Victor, British Columbia, or
Virtual Boot Camp.
Virtual Boot Camp. There you go.
Hey, Mike, don't forget about Eva's question, and you have another question that's popped up from, I believe it's pronounced Lee McKay.
Yep.
I'll read that one to you. You see that one on the screen
Yeah,
there?
I saw that one, Nolan. And to answer Lee first, Lee, yes, we had a letter in the river box.
You should read her question out, by the way, so they know what it is.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, you read
No
that.
one else can see that question but you, buddy.
Oh, okay. So Lee, oh, that's right. Lee says Lee says we're on a budget and want to find ways to get out so people will see and find us. Okay, so there's your visibility. I like the letter you did with the River Cruise webinar last week. That was to organizations. I was thinking of using the same thing to introduce yourself or ourselves or somebody to professionals. What are your thoughts on this? Well, I like it. I love it. Is that people, if they don't know you until you say, hey, I'm here. So yes, you construct the templated letter, personalize it, of course. It's a letter of introduction. It said, I'm here for you. I can help you. And I want you to write a letter to your local editors in newspapers and say, hey, listen, when you're going to write an article on travel, give me a call. I'm a specialist. I'll be happy to help you, give you information to write your article. Send it to professionals as well, that you're in position to help them and you're eager to do so. So yes, if you can find the time and create enough budget for postage, I say go ahead and do it. Now, here's the key. Don't write 5,000 of these things. Write 10, write 5, and then see what happens. And then tweak it a little bit, and then send 10 more and see what happens. That's under the marketing umbrella, is that if you send out 100 of something, you're going to know the answer. You don't need 5,000 to know the answer. So just dribble it out and watch what happens. Tweak your letter. Find out when people say they're interested in something. Introduce that into the letter. The reason why we're using river cruising is because it's such a hot topic. I mean, I don't care if you end up selling Disney or Bermuda. We're using river cruising as the hot topic. So yes, Lee, it is a good idea. You go prove it to yourself. Now, let me bounce back to Eva's question. And let's see. Eva's question was, how do you let your prospects know that you're remarkable, okay, without being a braggart? Well, let me tell you something. And ladies, I'm going to address the women on the phone for a minute. Women, you're not as good as men at this because you're taught since you're a young person not to brag and how it's not right to brag and it's not ladylike or whatever it is to brag. Well, let me tell you something. Your job, I don't want you bragging. Your job is to eat regularly. That's your job. Your job is to promote your business. Your job is to be visible. And if you don't tell me, who is going to? If you don't have a VP of promotion, a VP of publicity, a VP of marketing, who's going to do it? Well, I'll answer that. You're going to do it. And it's not bragging. If you do something nice for somebody, tell them. If you go out of your way and you really go the 9 yards, tell them. I had a guy yesterday on the phone tell me that his client made a mistake. His client did, and it cost the airlines the ticket. They wouldn't ticket it because the names were wrong. It was a married name versus a middle name or something. It was wrong, and it cost them $100 to fix it. It was not the agent's problem, but because of the nature of the trip, the agent ate the mistake and paid the $100. And I said to the agent, I said, did you let the client know that you did that? Now, most of you would not tell them. Therefore, the client would never know that you're remarkable. And I said, make sure that you tell them that you spotted an error. They know they made it, but don't worry about it. We'll eat it. Now, number 2, Eva and everyone else on the phone, to be remarkable today, the good news is it's not that hard. And the reason being is because most people are not. Therefore, step 1, do what you say you're going to do, and you will be a giant step towards remarkable. Do it fast, and you're going to take another step. Follow up quickly, and you're going to take a giant step. Now, here's the key, and then we're going to move on to my tip number 2. The key is that to be interesting, if you want to be an interesting person, become interested. Become interested in other people. Become interested in what they do. Don't lose the pronoun I and work the pronoun you until you bleed. Be interested in others, and you will become interesting. And in turn, the next step will be you will become remarkable. Listen more, and people will love you. They'll think you walk on water. All you have to do is stop talking, and they will like you more, and you'll become closer to remarkable. So, Nolan, those are my 2 bits. You have anything to add with that?
No, you took the words out of my mouth. The best way to let people know you're remarkable is to just be remarkable. And I mentioned in the last thing that we did together, you got to take the credit. Stop telling them that the cruise line has a great deal. Stop telling them that the airline has a great deal, or the hotel has a great deal, or the resort has a great deal, and start telling them the truth. You found them a great deal because you did. That's not bragging. That's just telling the truth.
And it's easier said than done, Eva, and everyone else out there. Men are better at it than women, but you've got to work on it. There's books on it. Well, women entrepreneurs, women speakers have written books on it, on how to position yourself, how to publicize yourself. But another good way to do it is to write an article, and now you become an author, and then you become, in their mind, a big shot. Okay, we're going to slide over. We're going to quickly speed up here. We're going to go to professional tip number 3, and as you can see on the screen, it's positioning. Positioning is kind of a fancy marketing mumbo-jumbo word. It really came out with Al Reese and Jack Trout when they wrote the book some time ago, and it was called Positioning the Battle for Your Mind. And the analogy kind of was, when I say rental car, what comes to your mind? And back then, a lot of people, Hertz would come. Hertz was number 1. And so therefore, the mind, the first one into a brand usually gets the position. For example, Kleenex. Kleenex is not a white tissue. Kleenex is the name of a company, but we call now this white thing that we blow our nose with, we call it a Kleenex. But it's not a Kleenex, it's a tissue. When we make a Xerox copy, we don't make it's a photocopy, but Xerox is the company. They're number 1 in your mind, and they're the ones who are positioned. So positioning means when they say travel, do they think of you? When I say rental car, what do I think of? When I say computer, what do I think of? When I say soft drink, what do I think of? So it's when they say travel, you want to be positioned. I just thought of from Nolan, speaker Nolan. Travel, Eva, and that's what you want to do. So you want to become. You can't be good at everything, and maybe it's not so much travel as when I say Alaska, I want to think of you. When I say honeymoons, I want to think of you. When I say river cruising, I want to think of you. Okay, because you're the river cruise specialist. You're the honeymoon specialist. You're the Alaskan specialist. You're the Jamaican specialist. So That's what I mean by positioning. So what I want you to do to become more successful in what you're doing is focus on a couple of areas. Well, one really, and then you can branch off to two. But what do you like? What are you good at? What are you known for? And let's make you the specialist when it comes to Jamaica or Disney or whatever it is. And that's positioning. And then, again, you want to position yourself, and it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek here, position as a specialist, but also position yourself to be visible. And that means in your desk is not, in your home is not. To be visible, you have to get out. So, and you know my 12-word marketing plan. If you haven't, send me an email. I'll send you my special report as my gift to you. It's called the 12-word marketing plan. But I'm going to give you the words right now. Get up, get out, and make more people glad they know you. Count them up. There's 12 words. That's the only marketing plan you'll need for the rest of this year and the rest of your life. Get up, get out, and make more people glad they know you. So there's the positioning statement. Number four in our professional tip list is connection. We have to connect with people. So once you get out there, we have to connect. And what I'm talking about is bridging the gap between what's the problem, what's the snag, what are they concerned about, what are they scared about, and what you can do for them. So you see you in the middle of the broken link. You're in the gap. You're between the problem and the solution. And if a person doesn't have a problem, they don't need you. They don't need you. But if they're worried or scared or frightened or they don't know something, now they're going to seek help. And they do need you. And they'll appreciate you because your social skills will kick in. So connection is very, very important. And again, I guess I'm stressing this. It's comforting. It's easy. It's fun to stay in your warm office, to have a cup of coffee and be in the nice, warm, comfortable confines of your environment. Well, unfortunately, people aren't going to find you. You have to go find them. That's where the work, if there is such a thing, in sales comes into play, is that we don't have to go dig a hole, not that kind of work. We have to go out and find the people who we can help. And that's, I think, tip number 7. I won't jump to that. So I'll jump to number 5. And it's the rule of 7. And the rule of 7, for those who know me and been to my programs, I've been preaching this one, or preaching, I don't like that word. I've been sharing it, but I've been preaching it. That's what I've been doing. People need to have 7 interactions before they'll buy from you. That's the rule of 7. Now, if somebody says, what about 1, Mike? Yeah, well, 1 will work sometimes. 7 might not work. Maybe it's 12. Maybe it's 20. Who knows? But by and large, the rule of 7, what it's telling you, and actually part 2 of the rule of 7 says 7 contacts in every 18 months. It puts a time limit on it. So therefore, if you want to do business with me and you try to do business once with me, it's not going to happen. I don't know you. I don't trust you. I don't like you. I mean, there's nothing about you I can make a decision on. So it takes time today to build relationships, primarily because there's so much noise. So my mind is so confused with so much input that it takes repetition. It takes repetition for me to become comfortable with you and what you're doing. Once I'm comfortable with you, once I trust you, then I'll listen to you, and then I'll adhere to your advice. So here's a statistic that's not on the board. 50% of professionals will quit after the first contact. They'll try it once. They'll go print a card, call themselves a salesman, ask somebody for the business. They'll say no, and they quit. 50% of you will. 25% will quit after the second contact. Okay? And if you add those up and follow my math, that means of all of the pool of so-called professional salespeople out there, I don't care what you're selling, 75% of you will stop trying after 2 attempts. Okay, 50% after 1, 25% after 2. But here's the statistic that you got to bring home to the bank. 80% of sales happen after the 5th contact. After the 5th, that's like 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. So what you have to do to become more successful is to become more wearable over time. That's the secret, is to become wearable, is when you walk into, hey, good, Nolan's here. Hey, good, Stewart's here. And you know, and I know, suppliers out there that when you see him coming, you say, oh, no, here comes Jim. I know you say that. I know you say that. But you want to be wearable, so when you come into someone's environment or their world, hey, Julie's here, cool. Because you're bringing personality, you're bringing upbeat happening, you're bringing fun, you're bringing a smile, you're bringing questions, you're bringing an interest in me. If you are interested in me, I will like you. Make no mistake about that. If you are interested in me, I will like you. Okay, and that's a major league lesson, because most salespeople, I look up, yeah, can I help you? Who's next? Can I help you? Who's next? That's not the way to do it, folks. You do that to me, I may milk you for information, I may use you, but boy, don't count on me as your customer, because I'm not. I'm using you. So number 7, be visible over time. Don't quit. Keep contacting people over. Now, 7 times in one day, you might become obnoxious. So don't do that. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm saying 7 times over 18 months. And as a matter of fact, this really, if we're being candid here, that should be the rule of 12. And the rule of 12, because there's so much noise that you have to come back over and over and over again. So I would say 12 in 18 months, not 7, but who's counting? If you ask any professional, I don't care if they're selling cars, Lear jets, real estate, whatever IBM computers, Macintosh computers, Apple computers, I don't care what you're selling. If you ask a professional salesperson, and I don't care if they're making $10 a month or $20 million a year, I don't care. You ask them what their biggest problem is, what their biggest shortfall is, what their biggest snag is, what their biggest challenge is. They'll all say the same thing. And you will say the same thing, because you know exactly what I'm talking about, is follow-up. People don't have the time. People don't make the time. People don't find the time. They don't follow up. You know you should, but you don't. And there's a reason why some of you don't. Well, because you just don't have the time or you don't want to. But some of you are saying, I don't want to bother them. I've already said it once. I don't want to bother them. Ladies and gentlemen, bother me. There's so much in my world. I can't think of everything. I need you to bother me. I want to go on vacation. I just can't. I'm putting in a boiler. I'm working about a boiler today, and I'm not worrying about my vacation until you come back to me and say, Mike, we're working on that vacation. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. And it'll come back into the top of my thought process. When I threaten you and say, look, if you keep calling me, I'm going to call the cops, well, then you might back off a little bit. But follow-up is respected. People respect you to follow up, and that's why. Because it's telling me you haven't forgotten me. It's telling me I'm important to you. If I'm important to you, I like you. Remember that. That's a key point. Tip number 7. Holy cow, we're on 7 already. Don't worry, I'm going to review them in a second. Number 7. This is going to make your life easy. You're going to love me for this. Wait a minute, Eva, that's bragging. I told you. Yeah, you're going to love me for that. I'm going with that. This tip number 7, you're going to love this. There are 2 types of people in the entire world, just 2. Now, if you can come to grips with this, your job is going to become very simple. There's 2 types of people. There's 7 billion people in the world. I can divide them into 2 groups. 2 groups, 7 billion people. My life is easy. Group number 1, people I can help. Group number 2, people I can't help. There it is. You are going to meet people, and you are either going to be in position to help them or not help them. You're going to meet people who want help. You're going to meet people who don't want your help. Understand that. That is being a professional. You're not going to be all things to all people every single day of the year. There's people who just don't get it. There's people who shouldn't get it. There's people who you shouldn't want to do business with. Here's a major league tip. You want to make more money? I can help you make more money tomorrow. Nobody's going to do it, but I'm going to tell you how to do it. I'm serious as rain here. I can help you make more money tomorrow, and you don't have to sell one thing. And I'm serious about this. Go look at your customer list. Go to the bottom of the list and pick your bottom feeders off that list. There's people you like to do business with. I know there are. There's people who you don't like to do business with. I know there are. Go to the bottom of that list and fire 10% of your customers, and you will make more money. You don't have to sell anything. You just got to get rid of the bottom feeders. Get rid of the people that are bugging you. Get rid of the people that are taking too much of your time. Not arrogantly. Just say, listen, I don't think we're the right person for you. Why don't you go to our competitor? Here's the phone number. Have a nice life. Now, no one's going to do it. I know that. But if you want to make more money, if you want to eat regularly, that's the way to do it. You heard it here. So we talked about targeting today. Pick a target. Your life's going to become easy when you pick a target. We talked about being remarkable and addressing the why. Why do you want to do that? But I mentioned to Nolan when we spoke about this yesterday, I said make sure that you ask permission to ask why. Otherwise, they're not going to get it. But can I ask you a question? Yeah. Why do you want to go to Alaska? Just ask permission, and people will tell you anything you want to know. Positioning. Positioning as a specialist and positioning as getting out of the office. Connection. We have to connect with people. We have to talk to people. We have to communicate with people. The rule of 7, we have to keep communicating with people over time. And then once we do, we have to follow up. And we have to remember that there's some people we can't help, and not to take it personally. Just go out and find the people we can. Keep looking for those Easter eggs. And then I want you to adopt the Kaizen approach. And the Kaizen approach, this will simplify the whole session today. The Kaizen approach is a Japanese term which really means incremental improvement. And incremental improvement is little by little. Don't try to reinvent the moon tomorrow or reinvent whatever it is you're reinventing. Little by little, step by step, calorie by calorie. Okay, that's the way it's going to get done. And Kaizen, I'll give you a quick example of what it is. If you want to give up French fries, buy French fry. Because no, you can't. I know you can't. They're so good. They're tasty. I want you to go out and buy a French fry. But before you eat them, take one and throw it away and eat the rest. Next time you buy French fries, throw 2 away. Next time, throw 3 away. Well, in 6 months, you'll be buying French fries. You'll only eat one because you threw the other 87 out, and you'll be off them. You'll wean your way off them. Everyone on the phone today is waiting for the perfect day to clean up their garage. It's never going to happen. There's never a perfect day to do that. Every time you step into the garage, rearrange one tool or pick something up or throw one thing out. Throw one thing out, and your garage will be clean in 6 months. That's the Kaizen approach. So when you're developing business, when you're trying something else, when you're trying something, don't kill yourself. Make one phone call. Write 1 letter today. Tomorrow, you might want to write 2 letters or 3 letters, and you just incrementally improve, and then you enjoy it. Then you enjoy exercising. Then you enjoy dieting. Then you enjoy growing your business. But if you kill yourself, your body and your mind is going to reject it. And here's the last point. While I have you, last point. I don't know if this has anything to do with anything, but just so you know, one of the things I've done in my life, I became a certified lunatic the day I competed and completed the Ironman triathlon race. I'm an Ironman, for those of you who don't know. And the one thing I learned in my training, I did it when I was 48. That was a couple years ago. But one of the things I learned was this. Your mind quits long before your body does. Your body says stop. Okay? Okay? I mean, your mind says stop. So you say, okay, I better stop. Well, your body can take a lot more punishment, but your mind says stop. So you do. And if you can control your mind to say, okay, I hear you. I know you want to stop, but I'm not going to stop until I get to that next telephone pole. You will get to that next telephone. I can't go another step. I can't make it another step. Yeah, you can. Go to the mailbox, bud. You go to the mailbox, and I did get to the mailbox. Now I have to quit. Oh, you don't quit. Now let's get to the telephone pole. And you will find that your mind is trying to tell you something long before the body needs to do what you're trying to tell it. So what I'm telling you here is that at 5 o'clock, when you just can't lift another pencil and you can't make another phone call, yeah, you can. And I want you to. Make one more. That's the Kaizen approach. Make one more phone call before you go home. I'm starving. I got to go to lunch. I can't do anything. Yeah, make one phone call, then go to lunch. If you do that, you will become super successful because your competition is not. They're letting their mind, I can't do this. It's not fair. I try so hard. Yeah, hey, join the club. We all get beat up. We all get rejected. I mean, that's the name of the beast today in this year. So don't let your mind dictate your future. You're in this business to be successful, so be successful. Show me someone you want to meet. Show me someone you want to do business with, and then go make it happen. That's the difference between the chumps and the champs. And I said before, the fact that you're on the phone here, that speaks volumes. Volumes. You're not here as a hobby. You gave me an hour of your time. That's big stuff. You're the real deal. So you've got 7 tips. I'm going to send you all a recording to this in case you miss it. But I want you, you're not alone in this, folks. You're not alone. Don't think you're alone. You didn't invent anything. I want you to try, not join. I want you to try my team. Jump on my team. Get more of this stuff that you're getting today, websites, meetings, get more of it. Try it for 1 month. I challenge you. Try me for 1 month and then see if you like it. Join my inner circle. We got over 100 people now. I want 200. I want you. You're the real deal. So send me an email at mike@mikemarshev.com. We'll talk about river cruising. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about. But we'll make it happen. We'll become more successful together. So I want you to become a member of my inner circle. Send me an email, and I will send you a video that will explain what this thing is called the inner circle, and then you decide for yourself. But I'm telling you this, I can help you, and I want to help you. And I bring Stuart in to help you, and Nolan. I mean, we can help you. We're in this business to help people. Give me 30 days. It'll cost you $19.95, less than $20, less than a roll of the dice at the roulette table. Try it. Decide for yourself. So, that being said,
Nolan is still listening to you. That's how awesome you are.
Holy cow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why Nolan's still on the phone is because I know that he steals all of my stuff. I know that. So
I have recorded and written down every single word. Hey, Mike,
well,
do you mind if I answer another question that popped up?
Yeah, go ahead, Nolan. By all means. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. Well, Eva asked another question that I was just itching to jump in and say something on.
Yep, go ahead.
Well, Eva, your question was about that a lot of your customers don't think that there's a problem with booking online, and what problems could they have? And it's a great question. A lot of people don't think there's any problem with booking online, and the booking part ain't where the problem happens. The problem happens when they get to the resort and find out why it was $100 cheaper. Oh, we're in the part of the resort that's under construction. Oh, now I know why the cruise cabin was cheaper than the other one, because we're right under the dance floor in the disco, and we're not going to be sleeping for this entire cruise. Oh, now I understand that oceanfront and ocean view are not the same thing. So the problem is not the booking. The problem is what happens after the booking. And a good travel consultant, if they're asking why, which websites never do, you'll be able to avoid that sort of thing. But you only do it if you ask why and dig a little deeper and go beyond what any website's going to do, because it's always going to believe that they've made the right choice. That's where the problems come in. But your customers won't just immediately know that. It's up to us to tell them that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's great, Nolan. If you dig deep, one of our internal human problems, if you will, snags, issues, is that we don't think we're as good as we are. We don't think we have something to offer these folks. So therefore, we're kind of too quick in our communications. We're the doctors. Let's stop, pause, and probe, and really find out what's going on, so we can give you some good recommendations. And you know more than they know. I mean, you're good at what you do, and until you feel that goodness, until you feel that you're really bringing something to the party, that's when it's hard for you to say that I have a fee for this. You have to believe it. And I'm telling Nolan and I tell you, you are worth it. We have to get you to believe you're worth it.
Well, one of the things that I feel passionately about this. We had a chat just the other day about it. That if travel professionals keep promoting themselves as just another booking service, you don't have much of a future. But if you promote and you behave as a true consultant, you'll have a future forevermore, because that is something the internet cannot do. Your customers are not calling you for a booking. They can get that from waving their phone at a QR code somewhere. They're calling you for advice. If all they wanted was the cheapest price, your phone never would have rang. They're calling you because they want something else, even if they never articulate that. And that's something we have to really think about. That's where your opportunity is to win.
Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, well, listen, thanks for hanging in, Nolan. Thanks for addressing some of these answers. And I want to thank everybody on the line today, giving us your time to come in and listen to us for the last 55 minutes. So now the bad news, it's time for you, or the good news. This is actually the good news, the exciting news, the fun news. It's time for you to go back and make more people glad they know you. So I'm going to terminate this call and say once again, thanks for coming. Bye, everybody.